Hey YouTube, Carrots Week here, bringing you all an update to my Majespecter Yugioh deck profile for post-Darkwing Blast. We got the new Majesty Pegasus, the Draco Slayer, from the Darkwing Blast Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. So I figured that entailed an update to the Majespecter deck, which focuses on a pendulum playstyle, getting out the many different Majespecter monsters, getting additional searches for our Majespecter spell and traps, and setting up some playstyles that basically stop your opponent from playing any of their own moves because you have counter traps, quick play spells, a lot of cards to disrupt them using your own Majespecter monsters. Majesty Pegasus, the Draco Slayer, helps with that search, being able to search out our field spell, and then just set up more and more searches for our different Draco Slayer monsters that we run in addition to the Majespecter monsters. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Majespecter monsters, I'm running 3 copies of the new Majesty Pegasus, the Draco Slayer. With this card, it's always treated as a Majespecter card. In the Pendulum scale, if you have a Draco Slayer or Majespecter card in your other Pendulum zone, you can add 1 Draco Slayer Pendulum monster with a different original name than that card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy 1 card in your Pendulum zone. You go and use this effect of Majesty Pegasus, the Draco Slayer, once per turn. And the search effect, being able to discard it to make it so your opponent cannot target Draco Slayer monsters that you control with card effects, and they can be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And if this card is special summoned by the effect of a Draco Slayer card or special summon, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand and then discard 1 card. So the field spell search definitely will come in handy for searching out our go-to field spell, which is Majesty's Pegasus, which is not a Majespecter card, so you can't search it with your other Majespecter monsters, but since we have this new one to search it out, it makes it all the better. I also run 3 copies of Majespecter Raccoon, Boombuku. The good majority of the other Majespecter pendulums don't actually have pendulum effects, they just have monster effects. When this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Majespecter monster from your deck to your hand. You go and use this effect of Raccoon once per turn. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and that is shared by the good majority of the other Majespecter cards, making it very difficult for your opponent to get over these cards with, targeted or, destructed card effects. So they either have to just attack into them or have card effects that do not target to begin with for these cards. And the searcher is just very, very good. Bumbuku can search out your newest one because it is always treated as a Majespecter card. Additionally, we're also running 3 copies of Majespecter Crow Yada. When it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Majespecter spell card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn, and it cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Like I said, they all share the final effect, but Yada can search out your spell cards, so we still have a good variety of other spells that we run in the deck just for more and more setup. So you have all these spells to rely on, thanks to Majespecter Crow Yada. Same setup with cards like Majespecter Toad Ogama. When it's normal or special summon, you can set 1 Majespecter spell trap directly from your deck, but it cannot be activated this turn. With it, you can set up your trap cards. We have Majespecter Tempest, or even just being able to use the quick play spells for the set, because then you can just activate them the following turn on your opponent's turn. And I also run 2 copies of Majespecter QB. When it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Majespecter Trap from your deck to your hand. We either have Supercell or Tempest in the version I'm running. I didn't have Cyclone. If you want to run Cyclone, you can just drop the copy of Supercell and some of the other monsters that we're running in the deck for additional copies. But QB searches traps just like Ogama sets them up, so you can't even activate them the turn you would search it with Ogama. That's why I'm running 3 Ogama and just 2 QB. And I also run 1 Nekomata. When it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Majespecter card from your deck to your hand during the end phase of this turn. So it's an end phase search. So other than that, that's why I'm only running 1. So we have the additional Majespecter monster to rely on. But having to add it at the end of the turn is definitely sort of a slower play style. That's why I'm relying mostly on just the guaranteed cards that have those searches right when you summon them. For the additional Draco Slayer cards to work with the newest Majesty Pegasus, I also run 2 copies of Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, so we have another tuner to go into some synchro plays with our extra deck, and also being able to have additional searches with Majesty Pegasus in the other Pendulum zone. And then lastly, just the 3 Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring, just as a hand trap of choice in the deck for all of our other plays we can rely on. We can still have a way to shut down our opponent if we go second. That is it for the main deck monsters. Moving on now to the spells. I run 3 Majesty's Pegasus. All Majespecter monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. You contribute 1 win spellcaster monster to special summon 1 level 4 lower Majespecter monster from your deck. You can only use this effect of Majesty's Pegasus once per turn. So just being able to go into one Majespecter and then into another being a level 4 lower and get the additional searches and stack up your extra deck with your other pendulum monsters to pendulum summon out is very useful with this field spell, and for the fact that it is searchable with our newest Majespecter addition to the deck makes it all the better as well. And I also run 1 Secret Village of Spellcasters and 1 Terraforming for more additional search for the field spell. And if we have Majesty's Pegasus, you can just search out Secret Village and then have a way to just shut down all of your opponent's spells. Since the Majespecter monsters are spellcasters, they really won't have much else to do against them since you've locked them out of having any spell activation for a good majority of the different decks. For some of the other Majespecter spells, I run 2 Majespecter Sonics, just 2 because it is searchable with many of the other cards we run in the deck, including Yada and Ogama. You target 1 Majespecter monster you control until the end of this turn. Its attack and defense become double its current attack and defense. Also, any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is half. So it's just a way to have a bigger boss monster on the field. Having our newest one go up to 3,000 attack alone is very scary. It's just a way for your opponent to have more difficulty getting over some of your monsters. And I also run 2 Majespecter Storm. It's a normal spell, but still you can search it with cards like Yada and activate at the same turn. Tributing 1 win spellcaster monster to target 1 monster your opponent controls and shuffles it into the deck. Gets around other card effects that would prevent, destruction or anything like that by just shuffling it back into the deck. Very, very useful. So just 2 though, once again, since it's searchable. And I also run 2 Transmodify for more of the tribute plays, being able to have the level 3 monsters we have in the deck and then just be able to tribute them out to go into the bigger ones since they're both wind attribute and spellcaster types using this spell. And for more special summon power, I also run the 3 Tides of the Brethren, just so we have 1 level 4 monster, whether it be Ogama, Yada, or QB, and then just using it to special summon out the other 2. It'll lock us out to other summons, but with this play, we got 3 searches off of the 1 card, and we really don't use our life points for anything else in the deck, so it's always useful for those searches as well. And I also run the 1 Call by the Grave just as the final spell lineup in the deck for the additional shutdown of our opponent's hand traps that they may use to try and stop any of our special summons or searches. And then as for the traps, one of my favorite Majespecter traps is Majespecter Tempest. When a monster would be special summoned or a monster effect is activated, you contribute 1 wind spellcaster type monster to negate the activation or the summon and destroy that card. So this is just a counter trap that can stop. It's basically the Solemn Strike for the deck. All you have to do is tribute a wind spellcaster type monster, which is the majority of our main deck monsters, and it's searchable with the other cards we run, whether it be your Majespecter Fox QB or Ogama. You can set these cards up on the field. Ogama especially because it just sets it up on the field. And so with this, Ogama can't be Ash Blossom since it just lets you set the Majespecter spell trap directly from your deck. And I also run 2 Majespecter Supercell, more of a recycle card. When you have a Majespecter card in your Pendulum Zone, the activation and effects of other Majespecter cards on the side of the field cannot be negated, and once per turn, you can target 5 in your graveyard, shuffle all 5 into the deck, and draw 1 card. So even for the discard, which we use for the new Majesty's Pegasus, for the protection, being able to then just rely on that to get them back into the deck to reuse again, or for the fact that we can use some of our Majespecters for a, Exceed summon, we can use all these monsters to then be recycled back from the graveyard and then drew back into the hand. So they all come in handy with the new spell and the new monster for that setup. And that is it for the main deck. When I move on to the extra deck, I run 2 Beyond the Pendulum, just more search power, just setting up 2 effect monsters, including a pendulum monster to summon this card out. And with this card, we cannot activate the effects of any summon monsters until we pendulum summon, which isn't that big of a deal. The best thing is setting up arrows using this card to then use to summon out our Majespecter monsters back onto the field to reactivate their effects. I also run 1 Win the Wind Chandler as another spellcaster wind monster, 1 Great Fly for boosting up their attack, 1 Cross Sheep for the other extra deck summons, 1 Barricade Board Blocker for the field spell recycle, and 1 Nightmare Unicorn and 1 Zephyr Metaltron for the extra deck plays that we can use with our pendulum monsters. And for the synchro monsters, the only one I want is the 1 Blasting Draco Slayer as more of a tuner option to go with, since our Draco Slayer can only summon out other Draco Slayer monsters that we use, but still a great and one that doesn't target, so you can shuffle back plenty of cards while destroying other ones that we have. And And then for the Xyz monsters, 1 of the Magister Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer, 1 Perform Mage Trapeze Magician, 1 Lightning Chidori, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Leviair for getting back some of our potentially banished cards, using 2 of our level 3s, and just the 1 Zeus to overlay into them as well with those cards. As for some of the go-to plays with the newer support that we received in the deck, we still have some of the other special summons like I mentioned before, but with our Majesty Pegasus, if you have a Draco Slayer or Majespecter card in your other Pendulum Zone, you can add 1 Draco Slayer Pendulum monster with a different original name than that card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy 1 card in your Pendulum Zone. So what's great about this setup is you can go for the higher scale. Let's say you have Boombuku in the other Pendulum scale. Then you can search out the go-to Draco Slayer, which will be our Luster Pendulum, to our hand, destroying that other card, and then with that 1 card in your Pendulum Zone, you can then set your Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, destroying the Majesty Pegasus, setting it up in our extra deck, and searching out another copy, thanks to the Luster Pendulum's effect, setting it up into the Pendulum scale, and then being able to have that card be Pendulum summoned out for the additional search of that 1 card, and any other additional monster we may have in our hand to use either for an overlay play, or vice versa, searching out just the Luster Pendulum, and if you have this card destroyed, going to the extra deck, you can either have that or one of your other higher scales being a level 4 for the destruction, destroying it, setting it up in the scale, and then using that other monster for that scale there. You can then Pendulum summon out the Luster Pendulum that you summon along with the other Majespecter, not only setting up the set card if it was cards like Golgama, and then using those 2 cards to go into the Synchro play that I spoke of before, and having the other target being your Majespecter card to destroy, to shuffle back an opponent's card that they have, and then also being able to special summon that 1 Draco Slayer from your deck in defense position, but it cannot be used for Synchro material, giving you that additional Luster Pendulum onto the field, and having more of that recycle power that I spoke of before, or even just the monster effect negation if we were to set up the other continuous trap with Ogama. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I'm happy to have gotten through all of the different decks that were supported with the new Luster Pendulum support, and Majespecters were definitely one of the more fun ones, I would say, to play just for the overall play style. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.